Hey, what is going on YouTube? Hey, Aaron here. We are back on the Mac, ladies and gentlemen. And guys, we have the patch notes for you guys. The November update, all in black. And guys, this is one of the best updates we have gotten in a while. And it's not necessarily a great update in terms of content. We got at least one legendary ship, which we will talk about. And of course, a decent campaign, although boring to some people. But the balancing changes that were listed in this update are some of the best and the most balancing changes we have ever gotten in Legends. So we're going to go over that, but first we're going to go over the patch notes here. The too long didn't read version is the Black Friday new ships and discounts. As you guys know, the Black Friday crates, that's honestly like how my channel first started, was just doing crate videos. We will be doing a massive whale session on that. On top of that, we have another fellow patron of the channel who is saving up another 1,000 crates, and we will try and get that video for you guys. He said he's going to absolutely whale. Fleet battles are here, the inaugural season. The first season of Fleet Battles should be fun. Divine Regent campaign featuring the Heisen. Holo Live production calendar, just not too interested in that, but we'll talk about it. 3 Brawl seasons, the British alternate battleship lines, the British battle cruisers, and more as usual. Black Friday is here, and if you guys will peep this ship, somebody needs to tell me what that is. I think it's the Strasbourg. We do have the Tirpitz B. I don't think this is the John Bard, but it could be. I don't know. And as you guys know, the B ships, with I think the exception of the Bismarck B, are almost identical. We will learn more about these as it says, it doesn't exactly tell us which ones they are, with the exception of the Tirpitz here. So if you've been waiting to get the Tirpitz in a nice combo, here you are. But those will be available in crates. So here is the HoloLive calendar. It's basically just, it says you can get free guises. I'm sure you'll have to complete the tasks. I just want to put a little disclaimer on these. These are here so you guys log into the game every day, just like your free crate in the store. It's a marketing and sales tactic that Wargaming uses. A lot of these games do, but just so you guys are aware of it. But if you want this and you do play the game every day, you got time, log in, by all means, finish it up. But I think if you miss a day, it's probably like 100 doubloons, like all other calendars. The campaign, we've already talked about the Heisen, and it got buffed to a massive degree, which we'll talk about in the balancing article. Here's all the goodies you get for the campaign, which it's always a good idea to buy the campaign, regardless if you are in love with the ship or not. But here are the fleet battles, 5v5 divisions each Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday during the new update. They will start, I think it says November 20th, or maybe that's the Brawl season. So I guess the very beginning of the week, Wednesday, or the very beginning of the update, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, yeah. So they'll provide more info on a dedicated article next week. So get your fleets ready, and then they talk about oil changing. But anyway, Brawl season is there and more. German Tier 3 premium battleship Von der Tann. What is this one? American Tier 2 premium cruiser Charleston M. So more fun for trading rooms for us. Mobile changes, who gives a shit? Sorry to my mobile chads. Shout out to Pig Bay for holding it down on Blitz there. But Japanese legendary cruiser ZAO. This is the my favorite part of the update, but as well as the balancing changes. 20 fast long lance torpedoes, a high rate of fire, and a lot of damage. This is going to be disgusting. Somebody actually dropped a picture in my Discord, which I deleted because it's dangerous sharing that information, young lad. But if you guys will see here, the ZAO is a ABXY turret layout. It's got 12 guns total, 3, 3, 3, and 3, instead of the kind of standard Japanese look with either the triples in the front there. But I think it's 12. Is it 12 or 15? I don't know. I think it's 12. But 203 millimeter cruiser there with 20 torpedoes, and then that turret layout. So regardless, should be a good ship. I don't know if I'm right on the information. I might be drawing a blank here. It's actually pretty late Thursday morning. But regardless, the balancing changes, which they talk about here, and this is one that I think everyone will be, except for with the players who think they're good, spamming Shima all the time. The Shimakaze nerf, but there's a few more things in this little, blurb here. I will try and include the notes in the link But without further ado, let's go ahead and look at the Ministry of Balance reports a flurry of changes. The first thing they talk about here is the historical camos. I actually just saw a video, I believe it was from DeFresh Potato, how he talked about these haven't been in the game for a very long time. But Wargaming might be listening and reading a little bit of feedback. It's only taken about 4 years. Wargaming, of course, is going to do what they want to do, but I think this is a step in the right direction. Again, there's no spawn changes that I didn't, at least, maybe I glanced over them, but no immediate spawn changes. But they are listening to the balancing because the Schlieffen got a slight nerf. I don't think the Schlieffen really needed it, but it was definitely a strong one. It says at least early game here, so my triple German battleship division, you guys might have to learn to live past the 4-minute mark. But main gun decrease there, or increase rather. And then increase on the reload time for the secondaries as well. So little nerf to the Schlieffen there, and this is one that I actually was really surprised about, mainly because they are adding HE shells. The Stalingrad gets an AP shell buff as well as fixing her rear turret firing angle, which has been something that was reported over like 2 years ago. Just shows you that Wargaming does listen after we've already filed for divorce, but. This is one of the biggest changes, mainly because they added the HE shells. Why the ship came without HE in the first place, I have no idea. Legendary tier wasn't. It's getting better. There's a lot more ships now, but it was an absolute disaster when it was first released with just how poor balancing was. And that is a result of there only being the first release was the Alaska, the GK, and the Yamato. And of course, the Alaska is going to suffer in that regard. They buffed the Alaska, then they nerfed the Alaska, and speaking of the Alaska, they've actually just buffed it again. No idea why, but anyway, we just had a Kraken in the Alaska and then an easy 200k game, which I'm kind of sitting on. We also had a pretty disgusting game in the Stalingrad, which was actually in my editing queue. So yeah, we'll go ahead and throw that out before the update. I think we'll have time, but regardless here, the Alaska gets its main battery firing range increased by 0.15. What a buff. The reload time reduction is actually pretty significant. That's a whole 2 seconds there, which with the reload build gets you even lower. Fire duration, though, was increased. So it does get that battleship or super cruiser fire to 45 seconds. So make sure you're managing your fires there. Whole HP and HP distribution has been improved. So nearly a 6,000 health HP increase. That is pretty gnarly. So hopefully that means the Hindenburg is on the way. Anyway, sonar consumable improved. Yeah, that's going to be pretty dangerous to those Shimas now, who probably won't remain concealed. Yeah, you gotta love Shima players who abuse the concealed mechanics. But speaking of that, we've got the Shima nerf, easily the most popular legendary tier destroyer. Well, it's because it's just one of the most brain-dead ship. I'm sorry. I hate Shima players. They hide at 5 kilometers, and most of them don't even do their jobs. You can be a decent player and support your team, but it's just a brain-dead drop 15 nuclear tip torpedoes at 4.9 kilometers. But it does get a detectability range increase, so you won't be able to sit at 5 kilometers. This might put you at 5.2. And I've got news for you. If you can't play the Shima at 5.2, you're just not a good destroyer player. Period. I'm sorry. I have no sympathy, no remorse. I would even take some of the backlining or triple German battleship divisions over some of the Shima players in this game. Just beyond useless. But my rant is over on that one. The Heisen, like we talked about, they basically buff the shit out of this entire ship. This whole thing is increases here, or buffs. Main battery reload buff. Main battery range increase, main battery shell grouping increase. I thought it was already accurate to begin with. On top of that, you have 12 shells, like we talked about with the Kansas and other ships with 12 shells. It's accuracy by volume, essentially. You're just throwing, like we talked about with tactic, you're throwing spaghetti at the wall. So ship speed increased, detectability reduced, which is a good thing, better concealment, range by air reduced, and detectability when firing in smoke, which is kind of funny. Sometimes I remember the game first came out, people are set. It's I saw this comment on Facebook. It's I set smoke screens for my battleships. It's okay, I appreciate it, but I'm still gonna be detected in the smoke. But Prince Ruprecht gets a similar nerf, only to the secondaries, though, as Schlieffen did. St. Louis, probably the least popular ship, and honestly, you kind of have to. I believe we can thank Meta and a few others. I mean, for a lot of these, but he was like, why would I want to play the St. Louis? Because it's, basically a worse Charles Martel for 36 million silver, whatever the cost is. And she didn't feel, as they say, she didn't feel like an upgrade over the Charles Martel, which is an understatement and a half. We're increasing her damage output to give her a greater presence in battle. Okay, so the stock main battery reload reduction, as well as an upgraded main battery reload time. So, the upgraded. So yeah, 8.5 is actually pretty disgusting. You couple that with the reload booster, and yeah, Neptune is just You guys know they dropped tier 8. Like, I feel like it was about a year ago, probably longer, and all of these ships are just like, why would I play them, right? They just, this is why half of these ships are so unpopular, with the exception, as you can see the Neptune buffs here, of the Alan M. Sumner. And this is actually pretty hilarious because there's a particular little lad who just spams this DD, and there's nothing wrong. We all have our favorite ship, but there's a certain aspect of this game about spamming overpowered ships often and thinking you're a good player. Now, I just put out a Salem video, and someone had a comment, of course, on that. But after a couple hundred battles in a certain ship, you should, try and switch it up. But again, that's a topic for another video that we have. Sumner has been dominating tier 8 as well as legendary tier. I would literally take this over the gearing, as they kind of even state in this article here. She receives a sizable nerf to reduce her abilities. The main battery reload time is decreased or increased. It's a nerf. Upgraded torpedo range. Upgraded torpedo range? What does it say? Upgraded. I should say degraded, but it's reduced. Torpedo range there is just the wording of that just kind of threw me off. It's not upgraded. 16.5 down to 12 kilometers. Again, if you're torping at 16.5 or even running a Gleaves build, I suggest you learn how to play. Detectability sea range, slight increase, 0.8, 800 meters there. I'm not sure what that'll work out with the concealments, but detectability range in air and firing in smoke is 300 meters. Wow, sure. That's not really like a massive nerf, but they did nerf a lot of things. Anywho, those who spam Sumner will have to get good in a different way. Kitakaze, by popular request and to improve the upgrade over the Akazuki, Kitakaze is getting a big buff to her main guns in both damage output and HE penetration. So reload buff there, as well as, that's kind of a lot, 20 to 30 millimeters of armor. That is a massive buff. So, yikes, yep. And then they say Hampshire or Hampshire. So all my Brits were just like, you say it wrong. Well, at least schools. That's what all of you sound like every time. I don't give a shit. Hampshire. Testing has showed that the Hampshire was outputting a bit too much damage. Okay, well, sure. Main battery reload time increased from 9.5 to 10.5. And then the spotter consumable. Why? Why'd you remove the plane? Now I can't run Arthas. But anyway, I guess that means she will be coming out this update because she wasn't in the last one. Anywho, Monarch is getting her B hull applied, which comes with a series of improvements to her HP, anti-aircraft weaponry, rudder shift time, as well as her fire resistance. Fire resistance multiplier. Here is where we get into these things that someone who's been playing the game for 4 years is still unsure of. Certain hulls of certain ships have a better or lower fire chance. And this is where just people are just going to whine. But fire resistance multiplier improved from 0.6667 to 0.6337. Yeah. Anyway, AA improved and minor visual changes. Well, yeah. Moving on. Kansas is a top battleship at Tier 7 with exceptional firepower. The accuracy and firepower focused playstyle of the ship is unchanged, but we're reducing damage output. So a 1 second decrease on your reload, as well as a slight nerf to the AP shell damage. Again, if you're a good player, this is going to mean absolutely nothing to you. Anywho, Charles Martel is getting a buff. Stock reload and upgraded reload decreased. San Diego. This is a ship that everyone kind of brought up. What an absolute garbage tier 7. Even with these buffs that I kind of read, this ship, you could put this thing on a fucking battleship hull. Like, what is that ship? The Illinois on PC? And this thing would still be garbage. But anyway, San Diego has arrived with many compromises to the ship's abilities. She could have both SAP and main battery reload booster. Isn't she AP? Or what I forget, but whatever. Ship's HP is increased. Steering. They redid or modified the ship's HP to the appropriate sections here. SAP shell damage increased. Main battery reload time increased, which is so. Why are we? This isn't gonna matter 5.5 to 6, but like, why are we? That's a nerf. That's it's. And then the main battery reload booster duration from 15 to 16 seconds. Wow, what a buff! Like I said, this ship is just, yeah. Anywho, Mogami is getting a buff. HE shell damage and reload reduction there. And the Riga, probably one of my favorites, is getting a buff. So Riga has always been an oddball. It's kind of true. And now she seems like a low point in the line. Well, she is, but compared to Talon and Petro, I just hope they don't nerf my baby. I wonder if I still have the XP record in her. Probably not, but anyway, I haven't been playing her too much. I've just kind of been moving on. It's almost sometimes it's like you get certain stats in the ship and you don't want to touch it again, just with how the games have been going. But the Riga gets a main battery shell grouping increase from 1.8 to 1.85. That's just not a lot. If you guys know anything about Sigma and cruisers, this is not cruiser dispersion, but anyway, main battery dispersion improved by 9%. So yeah, it gets that. It said it got that battleship dispersion. So that's a huge change. You want a little bit better grouping, but the dispersion improved by 9%. It's kind of a lot. So that makes that circle tighter, so you can get decent chances. For reference, I think the Stalingrad is like 2.4, 2.3 sigma, and it still doesn't feel that accurate. But sometimes, other times it does. Secondary battery modification 3 for cruisers. Okay, I guess you could put that on the Riga again. Anyway, historical camos. You can read the list here, but basically they got every ship, for the most part, a huge chunk of ships. With are there really that many legendary ships? I guess there are. I'm just so bored of them, I guess. Anyway, but yeah, there are the historical camos, and that is the update, guys. It's probably longer than I meant for it to be, but the balancing changes were pretty significant. So I hope my voice is coming through this audio recording too well, but I'm posting this take anyway. I've done this take this video about 8 times already, so it's late. I had spent the night recording, so sorry for the lack of streams and videos. Life is busy and gets in the way. So regardless, though, I appreciate you guys. The support has been awesome. You could help it move along even more by liking the video and subscribing if you're not already. And that's my spiel. Hope you guys have a great morning. We'll see you guys on Monday for the update. It's going to be a fun one. Hey, run out. Peace.